Welcome to Part 5, the final pack, Internals and Architecture. This is the hardest set in the series, so even question 1 here is only relatively easy. Same rules as always, one slide is the question, the next is the answer. When you see a question, pause and answer it out loud before I reveal it. These 5 go right down to how Docker is wired internally and how containers work at the file system level. If you can clear all 5, you genuinely understand what's happening under the hood. Let's go. Question 1, relatively easy for this pack. What actually happens when you type docker run nginx and hit enter? Walk the request from the command line all the way to a running container. Pause and answer it out loud. The answer. The Docker CLI doesn't actually run anything. It packages your request and sends it to the Docker daemon. The daemon does the work. It looks for the nginx image locally, and if it's not there, it pulls it from a registry. Then it creates the container from that image and starts your process as PID1 inside it. The clean one-liner is the life cycle: pull if needed, create, start. Question 2, easy. What is the Docker daemon, and why is Docker built as a client-server system? You touched the daemon in question 1, now explain what it is and why that split matters. Pause and answer. The answer. The Docker daemon, Dockered, is a long-running background service that does all the real work, building images, running containers, and managing networks and volumes. The Docker CLI you type into is just a client. It talks to the daemon over an API, issuing orders that the daemon carries out. And here's why the client-server split matters. Because the two are separate and talk over an API, the daemon doesn't have to be on your machine. The same CLI can point at a daemon on a remote host and drive Docker there. Question 3, medium. What are containered and runk? People say Docker as if it's one program, but underneath, the work is split across these components. Explain what each one does. This is where interviews start filtering. Pause and answer. The answer. Docker isn't a single monolithic program, the work is led. The daemon, Dockered, hands off to containered, which manages pulling images and the whole container lifecycle. Containered in turn calls runk, the low-level OCI runtime that does the actual creation. It sets up the namespaces and groups and executives your process inside them. So the chain is Dockered to containered to runk. The reason it matters, OCI defines open standards for images and runtimes, so all these tools interoperate instead of locking you into one vendor. Quick checkpoint. If you answered the first 3, nice, but those were the easy half. The questions almost anyone using Docker can handle. Here's the honest line. If you call yourself a Docker engineer, you should be able to answer the last 2. This is exactly where juniors and pros split. The difficulty is about to jump. Question 4 is hard. Question 5 is genuinely tough. Question 4, hard. You probably saw the headlines. Kubernetes deprecated Docker. Does that mean Docker is dead, and that your images won't run on Kubernetes anymore? This is a real engineer's question, and the headline scared a lot of people for no reason. Pause and answer. The answer. No, Docker is not dead, and your images are completely fine. What Kubernetes actually deprecated was the Dockershim, the special adapter that let the kubelet talk to the full Docker engine. Kubernetes now talks to runtimes directly through the CRI, the Container Runtime Interface, using runtimes like Containerd or CRI. The part people miss, The images you build with Docker are OCI images, and they run perfectly on those runtimes. In fact, Docker itself uses containered under the hood. So the takeaway is, build with Docker, run on containered. Only the Kubernetes to Docker engine glue went away. The image format and your workflow didn't. Question 5. Very hard, the expert question. How do image layers and copy on write actually work at the file system level? No analogies here. They want the real storage driver mechanics, how read-only layers and the writable layer become one file system, and what happens when you write to a file. This is the one that proves you understand what an image really is. Pause and give it your best shot. The expert answer. An image is a stack of read-only layers, and a running container adds one thin writable layer on top. A storage driver, most commonly overlay 2, merges them. The read-only image layers become the lower directories, the container's writable layer is the upper directory, and overlay 2 presents all of them as a single unified file system the process sees. The key mechanism is copy on write. As long as you only read a file, you read it straight from the lower layer. The moment you write to it, the file is copied up into the writable upper directory and your change is made to that copy. So the lower layers are never modified, they stay immutable, which means many containers can share the same image layers on disk cheaply. That's why containers start almost instantly. Nothing is copied up front, only on write. And as a bonus, Docker commit works by snapshotting that writable upper directory into a brand new image layer. So, how many did you get? 1 or 2 is a solid start. 3 is good. 4 is strong. And if you nailed all 5, including the internals, honestly, hire this person. Drop your score in the comments and tell me which question you'd like explained in full. Every one of these has a complete episode in the Docker Explained series. To learn Docker the easy way, subscribe to the channel. And that's the full 5-part pack. Go rewatch part 1 to test yourself again from the top.